The air was cold and still inside the alien base. The lights flickered weakly. Somewhere deep inside, strange voices echoed, speaking a language no human would understand. They said humans were weak, slow, soft. They said humans couldn't kill fast. They were wrong. Commander Alara crouched in the shadows just inside the air vent. Her black suit blended with the metal walls. Her breathing was calm, focused. She had been trained for this moment all her life. This mission was not about war. It was about silence. A small screen on her wrist showed 5 red dots, alien guards. One hallway. One objective. Reach the control room before the alarm could sound. No mistakes. No mercy. She waited. 1 breath. 2. The first guard turned the corner. His skin was gray and rough like stone. He carried a glowing weapon and looked bored. In one quick move, Alara dropped from the vent, landed behind him without a sound, and snapped his neck. The alien dropped like a sack of rocks. No sound. No alarm. She dragged the body into the shadows. Moved fast. The second guard was talking into a communicator. He didn't hear the knife until it was in his throat. His eyes widened. Blood spilled. Alara held him until he stopped moving, then slipped away like a ghost. Now 3 left. But they were together. She pressed her back against a wall and listened. "She won't come here," one guard said in their alien tongue. "Humans are scared. Let her try," another laughed. "We'll kill her before she blinks." Alara threw a small device down the hall. It beeped once. All 3 aliens turned toward it. "What's that?" Too late. Alara ran in, silent and deadly. Her blade cut through the first before he could scream. The second turned, gun raised, but she kicked it away and stabbed him twice in the chest. The third ran for the alarm switch. No. She threw her second knife. Straight into his back. He hit the floor just inches from the red alarm panel. Silence again. Alara stood there, 5 alien bodies around her. Not a single alarm had rung. Her hands were bloody. Her eyes cold. "They said humans couldn't kill fast," she whispered. "They should have watched me train." She wiped her blade, checked her wrist screen. The hallway was clear. But the mission wasn't over. Deep inside this base, 7 human prisoners were trapped. She had only 30 minutes to find and rescue them before the base entered lockdown. Her boots made no sound as she walked down the hall. She passed a large glass window. On the other side, 2 alien commanders were watching her screen. Footage of the fight, rewind, slow motion, analysis. "They're studying me," she muttered. She pulled out a tiny explosive. Placed it on the window. Boom, glass shattered. She leapt through the smoke and took out both commanders in seconds. More silence. But something felt wrong now. As she walked deeper into the base, she saw strange signs, cages with weapons inside, computers with human DNA files, walls covered in notes about Earth. "This isn't a prison," she said quietly. "It's a lab." Suddenly, her earpiece clicked. "Commander Alara," said a robotic voice. "We see you. You're faster than expected." She froze. "Who is this?" "Your creator," the voice replied. "Welcome home." The line went dead. She felt her heart beat faster, not from fear, from rage. She was being watched, studied, used. She wasn't just here to save the prisoners. Now she wanted answers. And blood. She checked her timer. 24 minutes left. She moved forward. 1 step. Then another dot in the shadows behind her. A camera blinked red. Asterisk. The lights above flickered like dying stars as Alara stepped deeper into the alien base. The silence wasn't peace, it was a warning. Every inch of the corridor seemed to hold its breath. Blood still clung to her gloves, drying fast, but her grip on the blade stayed tight. She had killed 5 guards in less than 2 minutes. The alarm never even blinked. But now, something else was blinking, faint red lights in the corners, hidden. Cameras that hadn't moved until now. She was being watched. Alara tapped the device on her wrist. A map flickered into view, old and incomplete. Somewhere below, the human prisoners were locked away, but the path ahead twisted like a snake. Walls had changed. New doors were added, traps maybe. Or mazes. She hated surprises. Ahead, a heavy metal door stood open just slightly. A long cable ran through the gap, vanishing into the darkness. She pushed it open slowly. The room inside pulsed with a low hum. Dozens of screens floated in the air, displaying code, blueprints, and something worse footage of her last mission on Earth. She saw herself bleeding, dragging a teammate through a battlefield, screaming orders with a cracked voice. That footage wasn't public. Not even her superiors had it. So how did the aliens get it? The whisper came before she could ask. It wasn't loud, and it wasn't real. Not like a voice in her ear. It was deeper, like someone brushing her thoughts. "Hello, Alara." She spun around, blade ready. But no one was there. Only static on the screens, flickering. "You don't know what you are," the voice said again, this time closer. "But we do. We've known since you were born." "Get out of my head," she hissed, breathing fast now, rage rising. Confusion too. Suddenly, the room changed. The screens vanished. Walls shifted. A holographic door appeared behind her, blinking. "Access granted. Subject Alpha." She didn't move. "Subject Alpha?" The voice returned, more amused now. "Why do you think you never miss? Why do you move faster than them? You think it's just training?" Alara growled and stepped through the door. The hallway beyond was white and glowing, too clean for a war zone. The lights didn't flicker here. They pulsed like they were breathing. She followed the cable again, now feeling it buzz faintly under her fingers. Every step forward echoed like she was walking through a memory dot. Then came the whisper in her comes. This time it wasn't from the voice in her head. It was real. "Alara, is that really you?" She froze. The voice was human. A woman. Broken, tired. Elar. A tapped her come. "Who is this?" "I'm Kara," the voice said, cracking with static. "We were on Vega Station. Together. Before they took me." Ilura's throat tightened. Kara had been on her old squad, presumed dead 2 years ago. Killed during a failed extraction. Or so she'd thought. "They said you died," Ilara whispered. "They lied," Kara said. "We're not dead. We're not alive either. Not really. They're experimenting on us. I've seen the labs. I escaped. The lower levels, but they're watching me too." Ilura's heart pounded, but her voice stayed steady. "Where are you now?" Silence. "Kara?" Static. Then, one last whisper. "They'll let you find us. But not all of us will want saving." The signal died. Ilara stood still, breath shallow. What did that mean? Were the prisoners changed? Controlled? Or worse, willing? A cold dread crawled up her spine. She moved faster now, deeper into the white halls. Past the glowing walls, she saw shadowy shapes, tanks filled with liquid. Inside them, floating bodies, human, breathing, sleeping, wires in their skulls. She saw her own face in one. Frozen. Eyes. Close. Heart still. She stepped back. No, that couldn't be real. But the tag under the tank didn't lie. Alara, original. Phase 1. Her knees almost buckled. She touched her own chest. Felt her heart. Her breath. Real. But then what was that in the tank? What was she? The lights suddenly turned red. An alarm finally screamed. But not because of her. On a screen ahead, she saw something worse. Containment breach. Subject Omega active. Another human. Not. Her. Bigger. Stronger. Faster. And it was already on the move. Ilara stared at the red, blinking dots now spreading on her map. A new hunter had been released, and she was its target. She gritted her teeth. drew both blades, and whispered to herself, "If I'm not real, then I'll rewrite what real means." And she ran, faster than the alarm, faster than fear, because whatever she was still human enough to fight. And someone was going to regret teaching her how. The red lights chased her like eyes in the dark. Alarms screamed through the alien corridors now, no longer silent, no longer uncertain. They knew she was here. They had seen what she could do. And someone was coming for her. Ilara ran fast, faster than any normal human could. Her boots barely touched the ground. Her lungs burned, but her body didn't slow. She had no time to understand what she saw in that glass tank. No time to think about the face that looked exactly like hers. The tag under it had called her original, if that was true. What was she now? No questions. Not yet. She had to reach the lower levels. She had to find Kara, had to find the other prisoners, and had to survive whatever was now hunting her. She slid into a side hallway just as laser fire tore through the air behind her. She dropped low, rolled, and ducked behind a steel barrier. More shots, heavy footsteps. Not alien feet, these were. Different, heavier, human-shaped, but faster, sharper. She looked through a cracked panel beside her and saw a tall, armored, eyes glowing silver. Subject Omega. It looked human, but not entirely. Its arms were longer, shoulders wider, face half covered in black metal. Its jaw was tight, no expression. It didn't breathe like a person. It didn't even blink. It was searching, and it was silent. Ilara knew one thing right away. If it saw her, she wouldn't have time to fight. It wouldn't speak. It wouldn't hesitate. It would kill her. Fast, efficient, without emotion. She crawled into a side duct, heart pounding. The silence returned inside the narrow tunnel, but it wasn't peaceful. It felt like the air itself was listening. She moved slowly now, no sound, no signal, just instinct. For 10 long minutes, she followed the tunnel down, deeper into the base, away from the alarms. Then the metal around her changed. The walls grew smoother. Blue lights glowed. Ahead, and the smell. The smell was wrong. Burnt hair, oil, blood. She reached the end of the duct and pushed open the vent. What she saw froze her in place. Rows of metal tables, each holding a human body. Some breathing, some not. Some had machines drilled into their skulls. Others had wires running through their spines. Screens beside them showed stats, brainwave control, memory replay, combat response levels. They were building weapons, human weapons, like her. Kara hadn't been lying. Ilara dropped down silently and moved between the bodies. She recognized one of the faces, a young soldier from Earth's last battle on Jupiter's moon. He had died. She had seen his body. Except now he wasn't dead. He was alive, wired. His eyes moved slightly. Tracking her. "Ilara," he whispered. "Is it you?" She stepped closer. "Liam?" I tried to stay me," he said, voice breaking. "But they're inside. They watch. They talk. In my head." She reached to disconnect the wires. "No," he said sharply. "If you pull them out, I die." She froze. "They use me to find the others," he said. "I can feel them move my hands. Use my voice, but not my heart. That's still mine." Tears filled Ilara's eyes, but she held them back. "How many are here?" she asked. "Dozens," he said. "Some still fighting inside. Some gone." A noise behind her. She spun and saw him. A man, older. Tall, clean, no armor. No wires. Just watching. He smiled. "You're not like the others," he said calmly. "Who are you?" she demanded, blade raised. "I'm the one who wrote your story," he said, "before you even knew how to walk." She stepped forward. "You're the Watcher." He nodded slowly. "Yes, but I didn't expect you to remember that. Name. You experimented on us, she said. Turned us into things. No, he replied. We saved you. We gave your kind a purpose. We made you better. She looked around at the bodies. This is better? She asked. He stepped aside. Behind him a door opened, and Kura walked out alive, standing, but her eyes were cold. Ilara, she said. You shouldn't have come. Ilara's breath caught. Kara didn't look injured. Or scared, she looked ready. You told me to find you, Ilara said, confused. I did, Kara said. Because I wanted to know which one of us was stronger. She stepped forward, and for the first time, Ilara realized Kara wasn't a prisoner anymore. She was a creation, just like Ilara, but loyal to them. The Watcher smiled again. This is your real mission, he said. You're not here to save anyone. You're here to see if your will is stronger than hers. Ilara and Kara stood face to face now, both trained, both enhanced, both human. And knocked out the Watcher raised his hand, and the door behind him sealed shut. No alarms now, he said. No backup. Just truth. Ilara stared into Kara's eyes, searching for the friend she once knew, but that person was gone. Only a weapon remained. And so, she gripped her blade tighter. No more running. No more doubt. Whatever they made her into. She was still her, still. Ilara, and she would fight. The door sealed with a soft hiss, but it might as well have been a thunderclap. Ilara and Kara stood motionless, only a few feet apart. No alarms now. No voices in their ears. Just a silence filled with everything unsaid between them. Kara's eyes were locked on Ilara's blade, calm and cold like a winter sky. She wasn't sweating. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't human anymore, or maybe she had just forgotten how to be. Ilara didn't want to raise her weapon. Kara had once been her sister in battle. They had bled together, laughed under broken skies, shared rations on freezing nights. But the person in front of her now, this was not the Kara she had known. Still, she spoke softly. You don't have to fight me. Kara's head tilted slightly. You still think this is about choice, isn't it? Kara didn't answer. Instead, she moved quick, clean, mechanical. Her strike was fast, but Ilara dodged barely. They clashed again, blades singing against metal walls. Sparks danced around them. One step too slow, and Ilara would be dead. Kara didn't fight like a soldier anymore. She fought like a program. Every move calculated, every strike without hesitation. No emotion, no pain. Ilara, on the other hand, fought with breath, with instinct, with memory. She fought messy, human, alive. The Watcher's voice came through the speaker above them, calm as ever. Impressive. Your heart still resists. That's rare. Ilara didn't answer him. She struck again, pushing Kara back. For a moment, Kara slipped her foot, catching the edge of a broken panel. Ilara pressed forward, blade at her neck, but she stopped. Kara looked up. Her eyes flickered, and then a whisper. Ilara? Ilara froze. That voice, it was different, softer, real. Kara? She asked, stepping back. Kara's breathing changed. She dropped her blade. Her fingers trembled. They're inside, she whispered. I can't hold it long. Ilara reached for her, but Kara staggered back. They'll kill us both if I lose, she gasped. They're listening, watching. Ilara glanced at the camera in the ceiling, then threw her knife straight into it. Sparks exploded. Darkness. Silence again. Kara fell to her knees, holding her head. They broke me, she said. Piece by piece, memory by memory, until I didn't know who I was. You're still you, Ilara said, kneeling beside her. No, Kara whispered. I'm just what they left behind. A low rumble vibrated through the floor. Ilara looked up. Lights along the ceiling flickered red. What is it? She asked. Kara lifted her head. You've passed their test. Now they don't need me anymore. Ilara stood quickly, scanning the room. Another door slid open, no key, no sound. Just an invitation. Go, Kara said, voice breaking. The others, they're deeper inside. But they're not all whole. What do you mean? They experimented on them, changed them. Some lost their minds, some gave up, and some. Her voice faded. What? Some liked it. Ilara's stomach twisted. What kind of prisoners was she going to find? She wanted to argue, to stay, to pull Kara out of this madness. But Kara was already fading again, her eyes going glassy, her voice turning robotic. Subject beta, reset complete, a voice said through her lips. Ilara backed away slowly. Kara didn't move. She was gone again, and Ilara knew this wasn't over. She turned and entered the next corridor. It was colder here. The walls were metal, but not smooth. They were scarred, clawed, burned. A scream echoed down the hall. Human, sharp. Then silence. Ilara moved fast, every sense alert. Around the corner, she found a door labeled containment. The control panel blinked, waiting. She didn't hesitate. Inside, the room was massive. Hundreds of pods lined the walls. Humans floated inside them, young old soldiers, scientists. All wired into the machines. Some looked asleep, others were wide awake, staring through the glass. One pod was broken. Blood on the floor. Chains torn from the wall. Another test subject had escaped. The lights flickered. Voice spoke behind her. You're not here to save us. Ilara spun. A girl, maybe 14, stood barefoot, thin, with wires still hanging from her back. Her eyes glowed faintly blue. What's your name? Ilara asked gently. I don't remember, the girl replied. They took it. I can get you out of here. The girl stepped forward, slowly. You're not real, she said softly. They made you too. You just forgot. Ilara felt a chill run through her. What did they make me into? The girl tilted her head. You're the perfect test. Before Ilara could ask more, the lights went out completely. The girl vanished. Footsteps echoed in the dark, not hers, not human. And not alone. Ilara gripped her blade. This wasn't a rescue mission anymore. This was a war inside a lab built by monsters. She was the only thing left that remembered how to fight like a human. Asterisk. The lights didn't return. Just darkness. Thick. Quiet. Alive. Ilara stood in the black, her breath slow, steady, counting every sound. Something moved. Behind her, then to the side. Then silence again. Not alien. Not machine. Something in between. She gripped her blade tighter. One step forward. One heartbeat. Another dot, then dash light. A soft white glow burst from the walls. Not electric but organic, like veins under skin. The hallway ahead stretched open, shifting, reshaping itself. Metal folding and unfolding like it was breathing. She had seen enough of this place to stop asking, how? The base was alive in some way. It wasn't just steel and wires. It learned, adapted, responded. It was watching her. A voice echoed low and smooth through the hallway. Not loud. Not cold. Almost familiar. Ilara, you were never supposed to make it this far. She didn't answer. You've seen pieces, shadows, but you're still clinging to the wrong question. The walls pulsed brighter with every word. Not. What am I? The voice said. But why was I made? Ilara felt something shift inside her chest. Not fear, not anger. Go quotes, I don't care what you made me for, she replied. You're going to regret it. The voice chuckled gently. Spoken like a true prototype. Doors opened around her. Screens lit up on every side, and there it was, her life, flashing like old film. Born in Earth's war zone Sector 7, drafted. At 14, elite squad by 17, Medal of Valor, mission failure. Then, black, Footage played of her crash on Veganine, a memory she thought was lost. Her body being pulled from the wreckage by alien hands. Not dead. Recovered. Rebuilt. Double quotes. We didn't just save you, the voice said. We perfected you, enhanced your mind, strengthened your body. But your will, we left untouched. That was the test. Ilara stepped forward. Then you failed. You think you're still human? She didn't blink. I know I am. The lights went out again when they came back. She was no longer in the hallway. She stood inside a circular chamber. A massive machine pulsed in the center, cables running like roots into the floor and walls. The ceiling stretched into a dome of shifting lights. And then she saw him, the man from before, not the Watcher, someone else. Older. Eyes sharp. Not alien. Human. Sitting in a glass chair, wires fed into his arms, his spine, even the base of his skull. Ilara, he said, smiling gently. I'm the architect. She raised her weapon. He didn't flinch. You were designed from my memories. He said, my strategies, my failures, my strengths. You're more me than I ever was. I'm nothing like you, she snapped. No? He gestured toward the screen. It split into 4, showing 4 different versions of her face. Each one different, scarred, robotic, silent. You were version 9, he said. The only one who asked questions. The only one who ran instead of followed. He stood slowly, wires pulling free. I've created soldiers, monsters, gods, but never a rebel. She narrowed her eyes. You created this nightmare. He walked toward her slowly, hands behind his back. No, he said. I created options. You were supposed to replace humans, not represent them. Then why let me live? Because I didn't know if you'd stay human. Ilara stepped closer. You already have your answer. The architect smiled, sad. Yes. I do. He pressed a button on his wrist. And suddenly pain. Ilara dropped to one knee. A code surged through her body, lighting up old implants she didn't know she had. Her vision blurred. Her heartbeat doubled. I didn't need to fight you, the architect said calmly. I only needed you to get close enough. Her skin burned from the inside out. Metal fought against flesh. This is the kill command, he said. But I'm giving you a choice, Ilara. She gasped, forcing herself upright. What choice? Fight it, he said. Break the code, survive, and prove you are truly free. Her mind flashed images of Kara, of Liam, of the girl with glowing eyes, all broken, all lost. She screamed, not in fear but rage, and focused deep inside her code. Something sparked, a crack in the control, a place to push. Her thoughts became fire. Her hands clenched into fists. And then silence. The pain stopped. The architect stepped back. Eyes wide. You overrode it? Ilara looked up. Wrong test, she said. Then she moved. Fast. 1 step, 2, then a leap. She grabbed him, pulled him down, and slammed him against the floor, her blade at his neck. He didn't struggle. He smiled. Now you know. He whispered. You're not like them. You're not their weapon. She stared down at him, trembling. You're ours. She pressed the blade tighter. No, she said. I'm mine. Then she struck, and the chamber lights died with him. The code shut down. The doors opened, and deep below the lab, the remaining prisoners began to wake. Not by command, but by choice. Asterisk, the architect, was dead. His blood spread across the smooth floor like spilled ink. Ilara stood over his lifeless body, breathing heavily. Not from fear, not from exhaustion, but from the weight of what she had just chosen. She had broken the kill command. She had proven she wasn't just code and skin. She had chosen life. Her way. The silence that followed was thick, the kind that lives in places too old for noise. Around her, the massive chamber began shutting down. Screens turned black. Cables coiled back into the walls and the floor beneath. Her boots grew cold, but even in death, the architect left one last surprise. A message appeared on the wall behind his body. Protocol Omega, subject ELO2, active. Ilara's breath caught .L-O2. She was ELO9, that meant. Another one. Her. An earlier version. Alive. Active. And now. She was not alone. Before she could react, the chamber shifted. Walls folded like paper. A hidden staircase rose from the ground, glowing with soft blue lights. It wasn't a trap. It was an invitation. Her instincts screamed at her to leave, to find the other prisoners, to end this madness while she still could. But something in her bones, something buried in the deepest part of her code pulled her forward. She walked the stairs alone. Each step took her deeper underground, where no map reached and no memory dared follow, until the staircase ended. Door at the bottom opened by itself. Inside was a room made of mirrors. Not glass but reflective black walls, each one cold and humming, each one showing her from a slightly different angle. One smiled, one frowned, one bled. One was already dead. In the center of the room stood a woman, same height, same build, same face, but her eyes were dead. She turned slowly, hands behind her back. "Ilara," she said. "No, sorry. That name belongs to you. I go by Echo now." Ilara stared. It was like looking at a version of herself stripped of everything warm. No softness in her voice, no light in her movement, just precision. "You're a LO2, Ilara said. "Yes," Echo replied. First successful memory integration. Highest physical compatibility, but unstable emotions. They froze me here, until now. "Why release you?" Ilara asked, circling. Slowly. Echo mirrored her. "They wanted to see how far you'd come. I'm your final test." "I'm not here for tests," Ilara said. Echo smiled barely. "You say that, but you still came." "I came to end this." "No," Echo said. "You came to face yourself." In an instant, she moved, blades drawn. Fast, Ilara barely blocked the first strike. Echo fought like her, but cleaner, colder, without hesitation. Every move felt like one she might make. Every feint, every dodge. It was like fighting her own reflection, but one with no heart. "You hesitate," Echo hissed mid-fight. "That makes you weak." "No," Ilara growled, dodging another blow. "It makes me human." They clashed again. Blade against blade. Sparks flew, blood was drawn, walls cracked. Each strike a conversation. Each wound a truth. "You think you're free?" Echo spat. "You're just the latest lie in a chain of lies." "I broke the chain," Ilara shot back. Echo laughed coldly. "And what did that earn you? Pain? Guilt? Memories that don't belong to you? They belong to me because I chose to keep them." Echo struck harder now, faster. But her rhythm cracked. Her moves became predictable. Angry. That was the weakness. Emotion. Even in the coldest clone. Ilara dodged, sidestepped, disarmed Echo, and in one swift motion, knocked her to the floor. Her blade hovered at Echo's throat, but she didn't strike. She had already killed too many reflections. "I won't be like them," she whispered. Echo stared up at her, waiting for the end, but it didn't come. Ilara stepped back. "You want to be free?" she asked. "Then choose something that isn't hate." Echo blinked. For a second, just one, there was confusion in her eyes. Then something deeper, sadness, loss. "I don't know how," Echo whispered. "Then that's your first human lesson," Ilara said, not knowing, but trying anyway. The mirrors around them cracked glass webbing. Across every wall, the test was over. Ilara turned and walked away. She didn't look back. Not at her. Not at who she could have been. She climbed the stairs, step by step. Up into the light, and as she reached the top, her wrist device pinged. Human prisoners located. 31 alive. Biometric response. Unstable. She looked toward the corridor. Ahead. This wasn't over. They had been experimented on. Altered. Some may not remember who they are. Some may never want to be human again. But that didn't matter. She would still fight. For them. Even if they had forgotten who they were. Because she hadn't. And for the first time, she wasn't just fighting to survive. She was fighting for a future. Asterisk. The silence was no longer empty. It had a sound now. The soft hum of machines watching her. The quiet beeping of life signs blinking in red. The heavy breaths of survivors who weren't sure if they were still human. Ilara stood before a sealed chamber. Inside were 31 human prisoners. Some had tubes in their backs. Some lay still, unmoving. Others looked straight at her with glassy eyes and faces that barely remembered who they used to be. A screen above flickered. Biological status. Unstable. Mental integrity. 48%. Release. Denied. She stepped forward, placed her hand on the glass. Let them go, she said. A voice responded, not from the speaker, but from everywhere. You broke the code. But you didn't break the system. It was the Watcher, still alive, still hiding. You destroyed the architect, he said. You refused the mission. You even spared Echo. Noble, predictable, human. Ilara stared at the prisoners. Some were awake now, staring back. One began to cry. Another reached out. They are not numbers, she said. Not test results. They are infected, the Watcher said. With fear, with memory, with failure. What will you do with them? I'll give them a choice. The Watcher paused. There's no escape from this facility, he said. It is orbiting your dead planet. What? The floor shifted beneath her feet. A wall behind her cracked open, revealing space. A massive viewing window. And beyond. It Earth. But not green. Not blue. Burned. Ashes. Clouds of black smoke circling what was once home. No. She whispered. You were asleep too long, the Watcher said. While we improved you, your people destroyed each other. Ilara fell to her knees. Everything she fought for, gone? She couldn't cry. Not now. She clenched her fists, knuckles white. You lie, she said. You've already seen it, he replied. The death, the silence. What's left is here, in this station. You're not saving them. You're burying them. No. She stood up slowly, straightened her shoulders. I'm not here to bury anyone, she said. I'm here to wake them up. The door hissed. Opened. The prisoners blinked in the light. Some stumbled. Some stood straight. Others cried out. Ilara walked among them. You remember who you are? She asked softly. A man nodded, weak. I was a teacher, a woman whispered. I used to sing. Another said nothing but took her hand. Ilara turned. Back to the screen. You think silence is death, she said to the Watcher. But silence is where we grow, where we change. You built this place to kill hope quietly. You made us forget who we are. She raised her wrist device. The virus the architect once tried to use on her was still inside. She had reversed it. Now it would attack the station's core systems. I remembered, she whispered. So now they will too. She uploaded the virus. The lights flickered. All at once, alarms started blaring, but not in warning. In panic. Screens crashed. Files deleted. Cameras went black. The Watcher's voice screamed one last time. No, you don't understand what they'll become. You can't control what's broken. Ilara looked around at the survivors. We're not broken, she said. We're healing. She activated the escape protocol. Emergency shuttles unlocked one by one. The station began to shake, systems failing. Reactors overloading. Ilara led the survivors to the nearest shuttle. But then she stopped, turned back. She looked at the halls she had walked through. The ghosts she had fought. the people she had loved and lost. The clones, the codes, the lies. She wasn't just escaping Dot, she was ending it. "Ilara," one of the survivors called out. "Come on." She gave a final look at the station and smiled. "I'll catch up." She ran to the core chamber. One final cable remained, the brain of the base. She pulled her blade and sliced. The reactor began to glow. The station groaned Dot as she sprinted back to the launch bay. Echo appeared in the hallway, wounded, but alive. "You came back?" Echo asked. "I never left," Ilara said. "Are you coming or not?" For a moment, Echo hesitated. Then she nodded. They ran together, two versions of the same soul. They reached the shuttle. The door closed behind them. Engines roared. The ship launched. Behind them, the station collapsed into itself. Silent. Exploding into the stars. The last lab was gone. The experiments were over. And in that silence, a new kind of life was born. Ilara sat in the shuttle beside the others. Broken, tired, but free. One of the children looked up at her. "Are we going back to Earth?" She smiled sadly. "No," she said. "We're going forward." And then silence. But this time, it didn't kill. It healed.